Farmers are asking the question about how their data is being used, and rightly so. When you look at the information that they're collecting in their business, it is their proprietary information and needs to be held that way. Hi, my name is Darren Howie. I work with Trimble as Director of Business Development for Ag Enterprise Solutions. I work with farmers and ag businesses around the world to help them integrate technology solutions to help them with managing their business and working with crop production. I'm an agronomist. I'm from Western Canada, grew up on a farm there, and have been in the ag industry my whole career. Well, the digital technologies that we're working with today really center around automation. Anything that helps farmers to manage their labor issues, both quantity and the cost. So automation of data collection, automation of activities in their business are really the technologies that are having an impact. Of course, the extension with that, or the future of that, would be autonomy and getting to self-guided equipment, AI or artificial intelligence, helping making better decisions real time. Today, there's a lot of effort going into imagery and mapping and diagnostics. We see a lot of effort going into that, and farmers are responding using those solutions to help them understand their soil and their crop production better. A lot of my work is really more around data collection, and while it's not as maybe sexy as self-guided equipment, we really work with helping farmers and ag businesses track and manage their data better to make more better profitable decisions. So the question around how data is being collected, what I see in the market today is, in most cases at farm level, data is incomplete, or it's certainly not complete in any one place. I think farmers are looking to try and pull data together to make better decisions with it, and they're looking for tools that can help them do that easily. When it comes to data security, I think farmers are like any business. We're all concerned about data security. Consumers, I think, as consumers, we think of data security as a security breach, as if somebody can see your financial information or expose some data. I think in the ag industry, we're going through rapid change, and new technology offerings are being offered. And farmers and ag businesses are looking at what those offerings mean. Farmers are asking the question about how their data is being used, and rightly so. And when you look at the information that they're collecting in their business, it is their proprietary information and needs to be held that way. And if the farmer gives up or provides some data to a supplier, they need to get value back from that information. It needs to be transparent and clear around how that data is being used. But I think most importantly, from a data perspective, it needs to work and be easy for the farmer to adopt. When I think of technology, I put them in three buckets. Really, there's decision-making technologies like sensors, monitors, analytics, operations like guidance and controls, and the third part is more planning and reporting for regulatory, profit analysis, farm management systems, those sorts of things. From a decision-making standpoint, the technologies that I'm seeing that are rising to the forefront in interest is around soil chemistry, for example. There's a lot of optical sensor type of analysis that is being worked on. We haven't seen it hit scale, but when we think about making a fertilizer application or an application of a product in the soil, understanding the nutrient properties of that soil is a critical element of the decision making for farms. And so finding new ways to do that analysis and make better decisions and hopefully make decisions on the fly as we're moving across the field become critical, especially for large operations. One of the discussions today is around regenerative ag and what that soil health can do for the long-term viability of farms. I believe all farms that are focused on crop production are see this as a critical element of their stewardship of their land and the long-term viability of their farming business. A lot of the technology today is centered around imagery, satellite, both low and high orbit, fixed wing and drone. The focus is really shifting from acquisition of imagery to now what can we do with that imagery? When we think of operations and guidance and controls, there's a lot of focus on variable rate everything, and really taking those maps and that information and making better decisions, real time and less recipe driven decisions, more decisions that are based on what we're seeing in the soil and in the crop at that time. And the last part of of that is around planning and reporting. There's regulatory aspects of record keeping in many farms around the world. But from a farmer's perspective, it really comes down to profit analysis. The sustainability reporting and the sustainability for the farm. Certainly farmers need to comply with regulatory aspects of their region. But farmers are in this for the long haul, and most cases are multi-generational. And their focus is really around making sure their soil and their farm is viable and sustainable for the generations to come. And all of these things come together. When we talk about regenerative ag and sustainability at the farm level, we're really talking about the sustainability for future generations for that farm. And that's critical for all farms, large and small. I think this whole discussion around agroecology versus sustainable intensification really comes down to perspective. When we think about sustainable regulatory or reporting from a global standpoint, we think about the long-term viability of feeding our population. At a farm level, we think of intensive, sustainable intensification of crop inputs. We want to make sure that the farm is viable, profitable, and sustainable for the long term in the multi generations that are going to continue to farm that land. When we think of the different approaches, it really comes down to a lot of perspective. When a farmer looks at their farm and the sustainability of their farm, they think in terms of how can I make this soil as healthy as possible so that I can have improved yields and improved profitability on my farm year after year. And there's technologies that are being adopted around the world that can be shared, and we can take best practices and we can use technology to really move those techniques, management practices, products around the world to help solve problems. When we think of agroecology, we're now thinking about the broader view of, how can we feed this population? How can we ensure that we have a sustainable food supply year after year? And that's going to take the entire world. We can't rely on the traditional bread baskets to continue to export food around the world. We need to have sustainable food production in all areas. As we talk about local, healthy, safe food supply, the best practices that are being used in Europe and North America need to move to other parts of the world, and we need to help all parts of the world to adopt those practices.